I learned something and I wanted to share it. I'm just going to start off with a simple question. Have you ever felt lost? Maybe when you were little, you got lost at some big theater or out on the sidewalk or outside and you didn't know where you were. I babysit these two kids and their parents told me a story. They said we taught them what our names were. So whenever they said, "Who's your mom?" they would say their mom's name. "Who's your dad?" They knew their dad's name. They knew their last name. They were able to say their name and their last name too, so that if they were ever to get lost, they knew how to be found. I'm sure most of you have grown up where you were taught what to do and where to go and what to say if you ever were lost. Give a little time to me. Maybe you don't go to your parents anymore. Maybe you go to your friends. Maybe you depend on your friends for everything and to always help you with everything. But truth is, your friends aren't always going to be there. Things aren't always going to stay the same. You can't keep things from happening all the time. And don't expect some big family speech or your family's always going to be there, because truth is they're not. Admit it, you can't tell your parents everything. You're not always going to be able to talk to them. So you can't always depend on them. But I'm not saying you can't depend on anyone either. If anything, I have a friend who he hides everything, acts like he's okay, and acts as if he tells himself and tells everybody else that he's fine and that everything's okay and that he's not sad and he's happiest guy in the world, that one day he's just gonna believe it and he's gonna think he's happy. It's not the way it works. How many of you have ever been let down? I'm sure that's a lot of you. My pastor once told me that every time something happens, you build a wall, and you build another wall, and you build another one, and eventually someone's going to have to climb those walls to get to you. It's never going to get to the point to where you've built so many that no one's ever going to be able to reach you. It's never going to be that way. You may have heard this before, but there's a difference between living and being alive. Don't take life for granted, because it's not something to mess around with. You know what? Worldwide, there are over 800,000 people that die. It's by suicide. Meaning, worldwide, there's one death every 40 seconds. Worldwide, it's the third leading cause of death. In America, 1 in 100,000 children from ages 10 to 14 die of suicide. 7 in 100,000, 15 to 19. And you might be like, well, okay, that doesn't seem like much. The suicide rate from 1990 to 2000, it decreased. 12.5 in 100,000 to 10.4 in 100,000. But get this, in this decade we are in now, it's increased back up to 12.1 per 100,000, meaning about 105 Americans die by suicide every day. That's a lot. An estimated 250,000 people each year become suicide survivors, and there's one suicide in every estimated 25 attempts. There's a lot of people trying to kill themselves, huh? My mom says this all the time. You kids throw around the word depression and depressing around like it's nothing. And we do. We use it so loosely that we forget the actual meaning and what it's like and what it feels like and what actually happens. Also, in the society we're in, we put a label on it. We put a frame. How many of you think people who are depressed wear black clothes all the time and never smile and listen to certain music? My friend told me about a discussion she had in her dance class where they were trying to decide if emo was a type of music. It's not. Sometimes I do lose hope, and I do things I regret, and you probably have too. Maybe not for the same reason, but you do things you regret and you wish you never did, whether it be to other people or yourself. Through all this, people lose their way all the time. All the time. We just heard it. 105 Americans in a day. Look how many people lost hope. When everything feels like the movies, people get lost. Eventually, they lose hope that they're going to be found, but you're going to be found. Maybe you've been lost before. Maybe you're lost right now. You're lost. I want you to know that you're going to be found. Every time that I've ever lost hope, every time that I felt lost, every time that I've ever been lost, I have been found. And I found what I was missing. I found that hope. You're going to get lost. Maybe you are right now. You're going to find your way. You will. Don't ever doubt that you won't be. You're not alone. You're not. Other people are lost just like you are. Maybe you're like me, where you're the one who helps everyone else. When somebody else is feeling down, or when someone else is sad, you're the one who goes and helps them. You're the happy one, you're the inspiration, you're the light. Who's there for me? What am I supposed to do? I found my hope. It's just proof that you're not alone. Don't ever feel like you're alone, because you're not. Just because you're lost doesn't mean you're alone. You're going to find your way.